Welcome back to Metal Planet, I am Max Gray. Today is going to be an interesting one as I feel that this is a really important record. I will start by talking about the original album, and at the end I'm gonna talk about the 15th anniversary reissue of this record that was released recently. So Crack the Skye is the fourth studio album that was released by Mastodon. According to the band members, their previous three records represent three classical elements. Remission represents fire, Leviathan water, and Blood Mountain earth. So Crack the Skye was a continuation of this theme as it represents ether, the element that is sometimes considered to be the substance the soul is made of. The composition of the album was influenced by two events. The first one is that before the release of this record, the guitarist Brent Hinds was in an altercation when he was drunk, in which he suffered from a life-threatening brain hemorrhage after being punched in the face. And the second one is that the sister of the drummer Bran Daler, Skye Daler, committed suicide when she was 14 years old. The drummer described that when he realized that his sister was gone, it was a crack in the sky moment for him, hence the album title. So the band was inspired by those events to come up with songs that have a moody and emotional vibe. There is definitely an emotional aspect in Hinds' solos on this album. You can feel something when you hear him play. A great example is the solo in the composition The Tsar, one of the best solos in the album. But while there is a feeling in his playing, there is also a technical aspect in his solos. His solos on the album are solos done right. They display a good balance between emotion and technical playing. Another thing that stands out in this record is the drumming. Instead of playing continuous backbeats, Daler has a way of keeping his drumming compelling by often playing drum fills. Take the song Divinations for example. In many passages throughout this one, he plays cascades of thunderous fills on the snare and the toms. This way of playing is often present in the other songs in the album as well, and because of that, I would say that the drumming is as important in Crack the Skye as the guitar playing and the vocals. Talking about the vocals, Mastodon's fourth album was the first record by this band to feature Daler as an additional lead vocalist. So in this one, you have three of the four band members singing at different moments in the record. Because the three musicians have different singing voices, the combination of those bring an interesting dynamic and a unique element to the LP. You can hear this dynamic in the song Oblivion, where you have the drummer, the bassist, and the lead guitarist singing in the same track. On another song, Crack the Skye, you have guest harsh vocals by Scott Kelly, formerly of the band Neurosis, and you also have vocals that use a vocoder effect. The only tiny complaint I have about Crack the Skye is the fact that it is not as heavy as Mastodon's first three studio albums, but the band did compensate that fact by expanding their sound and by trying new things. Many tracks on the album have complex song structures, and there are some keyboard and mellotron parts in the album that were played by the session musician Rich Morris. Even though they are generally in the background in the mix, those keyboard passages add an extra layer of depth to the music. In addition to having a moody and emotional vibe, the sound of the album also has psychedelic, atmospheric, and cinematic qualities. That sound is a great fit for the themes of astral travel, divination, and the spirit realm found in the lyrics. So listening to Crack the Skye almost feels like listening to a movie soundtrack. In that sense, I'm not surprised that the band members of Mastodon were asked to do a soundtrack in 2010 for the movie Jonah Hex. Crack the Skye was voted the #1 album of 2009 by the critics and contributors of the magazine Metal Hammer, and I can see why. I think that this record is a masterpiece. I would describe it as the master of puppets of its time. I give this album a perfect score of 10 out of 10. You won't see 10 out of 10 scores often on this channel because no album is perfect, but I feel that this one deserves it as it is close to perfection. What makes me give that album a perfect score is the combination of its execution, its ambition, its emotional feel, its colorful sound, and its cinematic aspect. This record was also really influential. I think that the astral travel theme and sound of this album influenced many bands. For example, I have listened to 2 albums that came out this year that gave me some Crack the Skye vibes. Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation and Beyond the Reach of the Sun by Ancients. I would not be surprised if those 2 bands were either directly or indirectly influenced by Mastodon's music, like the album Crack the Skye. And while listening to Absolute Elsewhere and Beyond the Reach of the Sun, it feels like you are traveling through space, just like when you listen to Crack the Skye. So if you like the sound of Mastodon's 4th record, you might want to give a listen to those 2 other albums. Crack the Skye was recently reissued as a 15th anniversary deluxe edition. In the CD format, it was made available in 2 different options with reimagined artwork by the original artist Paul Romano. The first one is a 2-disc edition. The first disc is a remastered version of the original album, while the second one contains the score version of each tracks. The 3-disc version features an extra Blu-ray disc that includes the making of Crack the Skye the movie, and Crack the Skye anniversary animations. Considering the fact that Crack the Skye has a cinematic sound, listening to the instrumental versions of the songs is an enjoyable experience. The remaster sounds great, but the album already had a clean and crisp sound when it was released in 2009, so the difference in the sound between the original and the remaster is not that pronounced. If you are a fan of Crack the Skye, the features in the Blu-ray disc are definitely worthwhile. Mastodon's 4th LP is a perfect example that you can turn negative situations into positive and amazing art, and I'm sure that if Skye Taylor could listen to this album that was made in her honor, that she would be proud of this music. Man, what an achievement this album is. If you like this review, smash that like button and feel free to subscribe, as there is weekly heavy metal and hard rock content on this channel. So I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!